Mom, just trust me. You don't need to know the details. Those were the words she heard right before her life changed, before the bank account was emptied, before she was moved into a tiny room with no say, before she realized her own child didn't want to help her. They wanted control. It doesn't always start with shouting. It starts with sweet voices, smiling faces, and 7 little phrases that sound harmless, but carry poison underneath. If you hear these from your son, daughter, or even a grandchild, walk away. Ask questions. Get help. Because love doesn't hide. And trust doesn't mean silence. Hey, story family. If you feel this already in your chest, don't scroll. Like this video if you know someone over 60 who needs to hear this. Subscribe for more truth we're not afraid to say. Share this with your family before it's too late. And comment below where you're watching from. Let's make this global. Now, the story begins. Today, we're talking about 7 simple phrases your own children might say that sound innocent, but could slowly erase your rights, your choices, and your freedom. Let's start with number 1. You don't need to worry about that anymore. It sounds loving, but it might be the first step to losing everything. It usually starts with kindness, a warm voice, a soft tone. Don't worry about that anymore. I got it handled. And because it's your child, your own blood, you believe it. You think they're protecting you, helping you rest. But sometimes those words don't mean protection. They mean control. What they really might mean when someone says, you don't need to worry about that anymore, especially about money, bills, medical choices, your home, or legal papers. What they might really be saying is, stop asking questions. I want full control. And that's where the danger begins. How this phrase is used to take over. Many seniors, especially over 60, are slowly pushed out of their own decisions. Not because they're unable, but because they're made to feel incapable. It might start with, don't worry about the bills, I'll pay them. Don't worry about your appointments, I'll handle them. Don't worry about your bank account, I'll manage it now. One by one, you lose access. You stop seeing paperwork. You stop knowing what's happening. You stop having a say. And one day, you wake up in a room you didn't choose, with money you can't touch, and decisions being made without you. Why this phrase should raise a red flag. Studies show elder financial abuse is often committed by someone the victim knows and trusts, most often a family member. When someone asks you to stop worrying about your own affairs, ask yourself, if it's really safe and simple, why are they telling me not to look? That's not love. That's secrecy. How to protect yourself without conflict. You don't have to fight. You just have to stay awake and informed. Ask to see everything. Bank statements, medical records, housing agreements. If your name is on it, you have a right to see it. Don't sign anything you don't fully understand. Talk to someone outside the family, a lawyer, a trusted friend, even a social worker, someone who's on your side. Set boundaries. It's okay to say, I appreciate the help, but I want to stay involved. You've spent your whole life managing things, making hard choices, surviving storms. You didn't make it this far just to be pushed aside with a smile. So when someone says, you don't need to worry about that anymore, you look them in the eye and say, I've earned the right to stay in control of my own life. Because you have. Number 2, just sign here. It's no big deal. It takes 2 seconds to sign, and sometimes a lifetime to recover. At first, it sounds casual, innocent. Just sign here. It's nothing important. Maybe they say it with a smile. Maybe they tell you it's just paperwork. Maybe they say they're trying to help. But here's the truth. No signature is nothing. What they may be hiding. This phrase is often used to rush you, to skip your questions, to keep you from reading the fine print. What might be on that paper? A power of attorney giving someone full control over your finances. A change to your will that cuts out someone you care about. A home sale agreement where you're giving away your house. A loan application you didn't even agree to. A medical directive that removes your decision-making power. And once your name is on that page, it's legally binding. There may be no way to undo it. No way to say, I didn't know. Because the law doesn't ask how fast they made you sign. It only asks if you did. The trick of familiar faces. Most people imagine being tricked by strangers, but real life abuse, it often comes from family. A son, a daughter, a niece, someone you've loved for years. They may not scream. They may not threaten. They may just nudge. Come on, Dad. I don't have time for this. It's just a form. Grandma, I already explained it. You don't need to read it again. Don't overthink. We're just trying to help you. They play on your trust, your love, your desire to not cause a scene. And sometimes they don't even realize they're crossing a line. But crossing it they are. What to remember before you sign anything. If you don't understand it, don't sign it. It doesn't matter who's asking. Your name is your power. Ask for time. Say, let me read this carefully. I'll get back to you tomorrow. Get a second opinion. Have someone outside the family look at it, a lawyer, advisor, or friend. Never sign under pressure. If someone's rushing you, that's a red flag. Keep copies. Always get a copy of anything you sign and store it where others can't take it away. You built a life through hard work. You've read contracts, signed deals, paid your way. Don't let anyone, no matter how close, treat your signature like a scribble. It's not just ink, it's your rights, your future, your voice. So the next time someone says, just sign here, it's no big deal. Take a breath, look them in the eye, and say, if it's not a big deal, then I have time to read it. Because you do. And your signature still matters. So do you? Number 3, you're remembering things wrong. It sounds small, but it can slowly erase your voice. At first, it feels like a tiny correction. Actually, Mom, that's not how it happened. Or, you're misremembering, Dad. Don't worry about it. They say it gently, like they're helping. But over time, it becomes something else, something dangerous. The hidden power of words. You're remembering things wrong doesn't just question a story. It questions your mind, your grip on reality, your ability to decide anything at all. And when this phrase is repeated again and again, it starts to chip away at your confidence. You begin to second guess yourself. Did I really forget? Am I losing it? Should I even speak up next time? This is how gaslighting works. It's not always loud or cruel. Sometimes it's calm and calculated. The truth about memory and age. Yes, memory changes with age. That's normal. Forgetting where you put your keys doesn't mean you've lost your mind. Mixing up dates doesn't mean you can't think for yourself. But when someone uses small slips to take away your power, that's abuse. This is often the first step toward taking over your finances, controlling your medical decisions, filing for guardianship, getting legal authority over your life. It doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with planting doubt. Red flags to watch for. If you hear these phrases often, pay attention. You said that already when you didn't. That never happened. When it did, you're just confused. It's your memory again. Let me handle this. These words, spoken enough times, can isolate you, make you feel weak, make others stop listening to you too. And that's the plan, to silence your voice so someone else can speak for you. How to protect yourself. Write things down. Keep a notebook or voice notes of what you said, saw, or agreed to. Evidence matters. Talk to someone outside the circle. A trusted friend, doctor, or advocate can help confirm your reality. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, it probably is. Don't ignore that feeling. Ask questions. Why are you saying I'm confused? Can you show me proof I was wrong? Document important events. Doctor visits, money decisions, conversations. Write them down or record if legal in your area. You've lived a full life. You've made decisions, handled emergencies, built everything they now stand on. Don't let anyone erase your mind with a smile. Don't let them twist your memory into a weapon. So next time someone says, you're remembering it wrong, look them in the eye and say, or maybe you just want me to forget. Because memory is strength, and your voice is still yours. Number 4, you don't need all this space. They say it with a smile, but the walls are already closing in. It sounds logical. It sounds caring. You don't need all this space anymore, Mom. This house is too much for you, Dad. They mean well, or at least that's what it looks like. But behind that soft tone could be a much harder truth. They're not thinking about your safety. They're thinking about your house. What this phrase really means. At first, they point to your stairs, then your big yard, then your empty rooms. They start saying things like, you could fall. You can't keep up with all this. You'd be better off in something smaller. And maybe some of that is true. Yes, aging bodies need comfort, safety, simplicity. But here's the red flag. Whose idea was this? Yours or theirs? When downsizing is actually a setup, this phrase is often the beginning of forced downsizing, not because you asked for it, but because someone else decided you don't deserve space anymore. And here's what happens next. They suggest selling the house. They find an apartment or assisted living place without asking your opinion. They push you to get rid of things. They rush you through decisions you don't feel ready to make. Sometimes they even move in while you're being moved out. It's not always about your well-being. Sometimes it's about control, inheritance, or getting access to what you own. The emotional impact they don't see. Your home isn't just bricks and windows. It's your memories, your freedom, your story. Every room holds a part of you. Birthdays, late-night talks, photos on the wall, the smell of something familiar. To be pulled out of it suddenly can feel like a living grief, and it can cause depression, confusion, loss of confidence, deep loneliness. When you shrink a person's space, sometimes you shrink their spirit too. How to protect yourself and still stay safe. If you choose to downsize, let it be your decision. Don't be rushed. Don't be cornered. Explore all your options. Get outside advice. Talk to a senior advocate, financial advisor, or lawyer before signing or selling anything. Know the value of your home. If someone's encouraging a fast sale, find out why and who benefits. Speak clearly and early. Say, I'll move when I'm ready, not when I'm pushed. You've spent decades building that home. It's more than a house. It's your independence. So when someone says, you don't need all this space, stand tall, take a breath, and say, I'll decide when it's time to leave. Until then, this is still my home, because your space is sacred, and so is your right to keep it. Number 5, let me take care of the money from now on. It starts as help. It ends in silence. At first, it feels like love. Your child sees you fumbling with the checkbook, maybe forgetting a due date. They offer with a smile. You don't need to worry about this anymore, Mom. Let me take care of the money. It sounds like kindness. It feels like support. But if you're not careful, that offer can become a financial cage. When help becomes control, money is more than paper. It's freedom, choice, independence. And when someone takes full control of your finances, you don't just lose access to your bank account. You lose access to your life. Without money, you can't make decisions on your own. You can't choose where to live. You can't buy what you need. You become dependent, sometimes without even realizing it. And that's when abuse can begin. Quiet, invisible, dangerous. The warning signs of financial abuse. Sadly, most cases of senior financial abuse involve someone the victim knows, often their own child or grandchild. Here are some red flags to watch for. You're no longer receiving mail about your accounts. You're told not to worry when you ask about your money. Someone insists on having joint access to your bank. You notice unusual purchases or withdrawals. You're discouraged from speaking to financial advisors or other family members. You feel confused, anxious, or left out of your own decisions. If any of this sounds familiar, it's time to pause. Because what started as help might be taking away your power. How this hurts more than you think. Financial control affects more than your wallet. It affects your mind. When you lose control over your money, you may begin to feel worthless, small, afraid to ask questions, afraid to speak up. You begin to believe the lie. I guess I really can't manage anymore. But here's the truth. You may just need support, not surrender. How to protect yourself without a fight. Stay involved. Even if you accept help, Ask for regular updates. Review everything. Never share full control. Instead of giving someone total access, talk to a trusted financial advisor about limited permissions. Keep your documents secure. Bank info, passwords, and legal papers should be in a safe place only you control. Get a second set of eyes. If something feels wrong, ask a lawyer or senior advocate to help you review the setup. Speak early. Speak clearly. Say, I'm still capable. I appreciate help, but I want full transparency. You worked hard your entire life. You paid bills, saved, sacrificed. So when someone says, let me take care of the money from now on, you look them in the eye and say, help me, yes. Control me, no. Because your money is more than dollars. It's your voice, and your voice still matters. Number 6, don't tell anyone else about this. When someone tells you to stay quiet, it's time to speak louder. It's said quietly, soft, almost harmless. Let's just keep this between us, okay? At first, it sounds personal, private, maybe even loving. But this phrase isn't about love. It's about isolation. And isolation is how abuse begins. The power of secrets. This one sentence has destroyed countless lives. It's how good people get manipulated, how fraud goes undetected, how seniors lose their homes, their money, and their voice in silence. Because once you agree to secrecy, you close the door to help. You give someone else control over the story. And slowly, you start disappearing from your own life. What they might be hiding. When someone, yes, even your own child, tells you don't tell anyone, stop and ask why. What are they afraid others will say? Because here's what's often hiding behind that phrase. A hidden bank transfer. A signature they rushed you into. A decision about your care you didn't fully agree to. A change to your will. Or a shift in power, legal, financial, or emotional. And the worst part, once you agree to secrecy, they'll use it against you. You said you wouldn't tell anyone. We talked about this already. Why are you making this a big deal? You start to feel guilty for protecting yourself. Why this is so dangerous? Isolation is one of the top warning signs of elder abuse. Abusers know that when you stay quiet, they win. Because the fewer people you talk to, the harder it is for anyone to notice something's wrong. You become easy to control. And the abuse, whether financial, emotional, or physical, grows in the dark. How to protect yourself without fear. Talk to someone you trust. A friend, neighbor, doctor, pastor, or advisor. Someone who isn't emotionally tied to the situation. Document what's happening. Keep notes, dates, names, what was said, what was signed. Don't agree to silence. If something feels wrong, you have the right to ask, report, or get help. Know your rights. Even if you've made mistakes or forgotten things, you still have the right to safety, respect, and support. Love doesn't need secrets. Real protection is done in the light, not in whispers. So if anyone says, don't tell anyone else about this, you stop. You breathe. You say, if it has to be a secret, it's probably not right. And then you tell someone, because silence isn't safety. It's surrender. Number 7, you're getting too old to make these decisions. One sentence, that's all it takes to start erasing a person. It doesn't always come with anger. Sometimes it's said gently, like a favor. Dad, maybe you're just too old to handle this now. You had a good run, Mom. Let us take it from here. It sounds like love. But underneath that smile is a dangerous message. You're no longer in charge of your life. Why this sentence is so harmful? Aging is not a disease. Memory lapses are not incompetence. Slower movement is not a reason to be dismissed. But when someone says, you're too old to make decisions, what they're really doing is testing your silence. They're watching how quickly you give up your say. They're seeing if you'll just nod and step aside. And the more you agree, the more power you lose, until one day your life is being planned around you, not with you. How this turns into legal control. This phrase is often the first step toward more serious action. Filing for power of attorney behind your back. Requesting a guardianship that gives someone else total control. getting doctors to label you as incompetent, moving you to a facility or home without your full consent. It doesn't happen all at once, but it starts the moment you stop defending your voice. And sadly, it's often done by people who say they love you most. The emotional damage. Hearing you're too old to decide for yourself can do more than hurt your pride. It can create confusion, trigger depression, weaken your sense of self-worth, lead you to question your own memory and sanity, make you afraid to speak up, even when you're right. This isn't just about power. It's about dignity. It's about a basic human right, autonomy. How to take back your voice. 1. Speak up early and clearly. Say, I'm still capable of making my own decisions. I want to be involved. 2. Put it in writing. Create an advance directive or living will while you're healthy, not in a rush or under pressure. 3. Choose your advocate. If you ever need help in the future, pick someone who will speak for you, not over you. 4. Ask questions, challenge assumptions. Just because you forgot a date or need help getting up the stairs doesn't mean you've lost your mind. 5. Stay informed. Keep learning, keep asking, keep being the author of your own life. You are not too old. You are experienced, wise, battle-tested. So when someone says, you're getting too old to make these decisions, you look them in the eye and say, I didn't survive this long to be pushed aside. I decide what happens next. Because age should earn you respect, not erasure. They don't always steal your freedom with force. Sometimes they do it with soft words and quiet pressure. But now you know the phrases. Now do you see the signs? And now you can protect yourself or someone you love before it's too late. If this spoke to you, like this video to push this message further. Subscribe for more truths no one else is saying. Share this with someone over 60 who still has a voice. And comment below where you're watching from. Let's show the world that we're still here and we're not giving up.